Hey there friends, it's Vanessa from Vanessa Jordan Photography, and today we'll be talking about the difference between CMYK and RGB, what exactly it is, why does it matter to you, and why it's important. So without further ado, let's jump on into it. So to start, what is CMYK and RGB? So I'm going to read you the definition of CMYK from the internet. The CMYK color model is a subtractive color model used in color printing, and is also used to describe the printing process itself. CMYK refers to the four inks used in some color printing: cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. Key is also black. So CMYK is mostly used for printing. That is the side of the printing side of the world. Now for RGB. RGB refers to a system representing the colors to be used on a computer display. Red, green, and blue can be combined in various proportions to obtain any color in the visible spectrum. Levels of R, G, and B can each range from 1 to 100% of full intensity. So then that side is obviously for the computer side. So CMYK review stands for cyan, yellow, magenta, and key, other or black, in other words. And RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So how does this affect your business, and kind of why does it matter? So when you are designing something, or you have a graphic designer designing something, you want to be designing it in the realm of whether it is for print, so you'd be designing it as CMYK, or if it's for digital, you'll be designing as RGB. So for example, let's say you're designing a Facebook ad. You have a specific brand color, let's say it's this bright pink. So if you were to plug in the exact numbers for that particular color using the CMYK values, it's going to look not exactly how you want it, because in RGB format and in digital format, the codes don't match. So you want to make sure you plug in the correct code per which platform you're using. And then you can also say that for the reverse, like if you were to put in the RGB codes for a printing job and you have this very specific color and you print it out and it looks really off, you'd really want to make sure you're using the right things, so then you don't have things that are off, because you want your brand to be consistent across all platforms. You want people to be able to see your brand and go, oh, I know who that is, or yes, that is such and such brand, I know who that is. You don't want to have things being conflicting or confusing. So that's why it's really important to make sure you're using the correct codes per the correct place. And what I mean by codes is these little code books. These are my saving grace. So these books, I'll show a different shot, have all of these different numbers along the side, and they have the CMYK codes as well as the RGB codes. So then you can match the exact color you want that's in this book to whatever you're doing. So let's say you see this cool, you really like this color combination. You'll want to then copy those exact codes, and you'll know for sure that they're going to be the same exact hue, the same exact brightness per each platform. Granted, the printing is going to vary per the paper you use, the printer you use, so you got to kind of be wary of that. Especially if you are working with a printer, it's good to ask for proofs, so then you can see like, okay, like this looks exactly the way I want it, or have to make changes and so forth. So that is how it can affect your business, whether you use them correctly or not, because if you don't, your branding is going to look all sorts of different across the board, and you're not going to really look like a business that's put together, and you really want to look like a business that's put together, because that's what makes you successful. And why they're important? Well, as I kind of said before, They're important so then you can keep everything consistent across the board. It may seem a little tedious in how you're gonna have to tell your designer, hopefully your designer would know this, that you'll need to set up your whatever Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator document to be catered to one or the other, like set up for CMYK or set up for RGB. And hopefully your designer would know that, but if you're designing these on your own, that's something you need to think about. You need to think about it ahead of time. Is this something that I'm designing for print, or is this something that I'm designing for digital? And I'm sorry, kind of have a little bit of a cold here, but that is why it's important, and that's how it can really help your business. So I hope this really helped you guys and give you a better insight instead of just like throwing out acronyms everywhere and going, what the heck does this mean? I hope this gives you a better insight on what it means and how it could be helpful for you. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like and comment down below what else you'd like to see from me. Make sure you go to the link in the description to download your free CMYK and RGB checklist. Make sure you have it all set up and all correct. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to follow along with all of my other adventures. And if you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you'll be sure to be notified every time I post a video. Until next time, bye guys!